Welcome everyone to episode 62 of Just Joshing. I am your host, Joshua Pentelresco. I write stuff, I podcast too, and I'm also a publicist. Currently, Craig Louis' latest book, Battle Stations of the Crash Dive series, is available as an ebook. You can check it out at Amazon.com and any other place you can order books online. Also, Craig's original book, Crash Dive, is going to be available in print as of November 12th. You can go to Amazon and get more information there. Chris Marr's next book, Entangled Souls, is also coming out very soon, co-written with Gene Cullen. It is a collector's edition. You should check it out real soon. Alright! It's been an interesting week off. I ended up going back home. A lot of things happened, a lot of good things happened. Didn't get everything done on my list, unfortunately. I didn't get to go back to London like I wanted to. Not the way I wanted to, I should say. I did go back to London to fly out, but, well, the last day I had an interesting dilemma. But I did get to spend some really good quality time with my dad, my grandmother. Got to see a buddy. Made some promises there, and, what can I talk about? Well, I can confirm that at least 2 of the books are coming out. I started seeing, started to see some really cool stuff from, a buddy has been working on a comic book for about 2 years now. I got to see an amazing, beautiful piece of work that way. So yeah, like I said, a lot of cool things are kind of developing. I'm going to talk more about them in the days and weeks to come. So, let's see. I can go right into it. I think I should just get right into it. My guest this week is Dorkable Entertainment. Dorkable is a collective featuring Miranda Tubman and John Ryan Stewart, and they film pulp culture stuff. You can find them on YouTube, you can find them on Twitter at Dorkable Fun, and they're just doing fun stuff. Some writer may or may not be a guest on that show, like tomorrow, maybe not. I'll be definitely posting it on my Twitter when that happens. Beyond all that, yeah, like I said, things are good, things are amazing. I'm getting some feedback from the letters I sent out. I guess I'll have some more letters tomorrow, actually, which is cool. And I got some Cloud Diver to work on, which is going to be my first book. I'm still kind of figuring out what I want to do exactly from the E point of view on that book, but that's going to be the first book coming out next year. I'll get into it real quick here. The Cloud Diver is going to be the first book I release next year. It's going to be done by me, for me, in a way that's really, really cool and different, and I'm hoping it really hits the right wavelengths with people. The second book is the last book in the trilogy, The Wandering God, will be released June 17th, tentatively, June 17th, 2017. So yeah, I mean, that already, 2 books is a big year, and I might even have another book coming out. I'm pretty sure that's going to happen. And I might even have a 4th book, my first Kickstarter, out next year. So who knows? Like I said, it's getting busy, it's getting crazy in all the right ways, and I'm really looking forward to it. Well, I think that's all I'm going to talk about for now. I could go into a lot more details about some things. I think before I go, I will mention this. And this is something I just realized while I was there. I got to be with my dad. And like I said, for me personally, I don't get a chance to see my family very much. You don't kind of like, it's the nature of the beast. I have to be in a place like where I'm at right now. My dad has to be where he's got to be. My grandmother is where she is. So I don't always get the chance to go see them. It always blows me away. People take for granted their family to some degree because they assume that day in and day out they might get the opportunity to see them. But people forget too. Like, things happen. I know this one family. They live literally a mile apart from each other. And don't get me wrong, life happens and you need that space to live your life, and everybody needs that to some degree, but they don't see each other except for maybe Christmas time. And I think that's a sad thing. They're so close yet so far. And yet, I just feel like people don't appreciate what they have with the people they love. And if you're listening to this, because take it from me, I I don't get the chance to see the people I love as much as I like. When you have the chance, take advantage of it, because you never know. And these are the moments that really matter. You know, that's just my opinion, but just my thought for the day. Alright, time to go for the latest advertisement, and we'll go from there. Dorkable coming up right after these messages. Tired of buying t-shirts, coffee cups, and other memorabilia that all podcasts seem to have? I sincerely hope not, because I'm jumping aboard this gravy train right now. That's right. You can be the proud owner of a Just Joshing t-shirt, photographic print, and coffee cup at my Redbubble store. Redbubble has one-click ordering and will ship anywhere in North America. Check out http://worldwideweb.redbubble.com/people/jpenteloresco for more details.
Email or...
I'm going to turn this on right now, just so you know.
Okay.
I'm going to turn this on. Now, the only thing I'm going to say about this, we can talk about anything you want, you're talking.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't talking because JR...
No. I'm bringing this up for one reason. I interviewed a couple. Ironically, they became my clients. Both amazing people. She was silent for the first 6 minutes. I actually had to point at her to ask her a question. And I asked her a hard question only because she's like, you didn't ask him that. She goes, and I went, that's because I want you to talk. That's fair. Yeah, so that's...
Well, I know more information about Extra Life, so I feel that that would be easier.
Yeah.
But
we're not at that point.
No. See, that's not the point of this. The point of this is to introduce Miranda Tubman.
Yeah.
John Ryan Stewart, or do you want to go by JR? JR. So this is JR Stewart, Miranda Tubman. Together they are the team called Dorkable. That's right.
Woo.
So how you guys doing tonight?
Good.
Yeah. Yes. Right.
I just love that you were like, I'm just going to interrupt your conversation to record, and then just like change topics. So what's up? I was just hanging out with my friend a minute ago.
That's right. Your friend is now a pod. No, it's okay. No.
Now a pod?
A pod. That's right. A pod from another dimension. It's okay. I don't care.
It's okay. iPod 2.
iPod 7.
I don't think they made an iPod 7.
They probably have, but the thing is now iPods can't compete with phones.
It's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fair. That's why there are iPhones.
iPhone 7.
That's stretching.
Come on, I give you at least an iPhone 9, JR.
Aww.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell that means, but you know.
It means they come out in like 2 months.
Yeah.
2 years. It's an iPhone a year.
Oh, fair.
Yeah, it's true. It's fair. It's like that's just the way it goes. But we were just, by the way, before I turned on this recording, we were talking about like different styles of learning and how books would sell, but like booksellers would just sell if teachers taught well. So.
Well, that wasn't what I was saying at all.
No.
But the traditional style of learning, like what schools say are the traditional, like the best way to learn, it's just read the book and you'll be fine. That's how like a very small percentage of people actually learn anything. If that method did work, then we wouldn't really need teachers. You just need assigned reading. Yeah. And then people would have a good understanding. A book club would be more effective than a classroom. Yeah. But because of the hands-on aspect, I mean, that's why chemistry classes work that way, because it's complicated, and if you don't go hands-on with it, then most people aren't going to get it. Same thing with like any like your like cooking classes, your like home ec, any of that, right? But it just with anything is that if people learn just by reading, like if everybody learned just by reading, then you wouldn't need any of this other stuff. People wouldn't have all these learning problems. It would all just be uniform, and you really wouldn't need teachers for much other than to tell you what to read.
Well, I feel that schools are getting better with it, though. Like, my high school, the year after I joined, they introduced an art-centered learning program, which when I was in grade 12, like, last semester of grade 12, had a teacher who was like, why aren't you in the art-centered learning program? And I was like, because they introduced it the year after I joined, and there was no grade 12s, or there was no grade 11s allowed in the program. And she got angry at the administration.
Well, this is just from a learning point of view. How I was taught, how Mr. JR was taught, and I would imagine that
I was taught too.
we're all very different. When I was in high school, there was still grade 13. All right, we called it OAC because I was in Ontario, and they just wanted to put letters instead of numbers for some reason. But it was grade 13. We also, there was less of an emphasis on. There was still emphasis on math and sciences and stuff, but there was more emphasis on critical thinking on a high school level. And I noticed this was a huge difference when I went stateside. Is I went to college there about 5 to 6 years later.
Where'd you go to college?
I went to Northland Pioneer College when I was in Arizona.
Okay.
And one of the biggest things I noticed is that the critical thinking skills I was taught. Now, grant you, Canada and the United States, very different systems. But even so, I've noticed that critical thinking skills have deteriorated in a classroom environment.
Yeah, in my school, because I was virtual schooled, right? So it was homeschooling with teachers, right? So you weren't just having a parent teach. You actually had trained teachers that did everything, but you just did it all through correspondence. And with that, critical thinking, it really only popped up in your language arts and your social studies papers, right? But when I went to university for philosophy. And so when I went into that, I met a lot of people who were from traditional school-based systems and from states and from other provinces. And people were having the hardest time understanding how people would reach a conclusion that was just a sideways bit on the same point, right? Because it would be you go from point A, B, and if B, then B1, and if B1, then C, right? And there's that side step people couldn't get. Is that it's well, if that's not the same point. It's it is, though. It's just, if this part's true, then this part has to be true. And if that's the case, then A to C.
Yeah.
Right? And that just, people couldn't understand that at all. And we'd spend entire classes talking about how to go from A to C when it was in the text, and the teacher just explained it, and then by the end of it, there'd still be a handful of people who had no idea what just happened.
So how about you? How did critical thinking go with? And like I said, I'm the old fogey here, so.
Yeah, well, I did the traditional I did 1 through 12 because I never went to kindergarten, and because it just wasn't around the area I was in. But, critical thinking was so encouraged in high school in, English and, science and history, or social studies. We were almost too pushed to do critical thinking.
Well, you were also a trade school.
Yeah. Yeah, so, but that was different, but it was in our core classes, we were pushed to do critical thinking, and our option classes, it was a lot more of the, interactions and stuff.
But you were your school was itself. It was basically a preparatory school for going to trades.
Yeah.
And so I feel that their philosophy and motto would probably have been more in line with critical thinking, because if you know as a mechanic, you know how an engine works.
Yeah.
You know what causes this problem, but solving it is not always the exact same for everything, right?
Yeah, same with cooking, is you have to prepare the food this way in order for it to turn out like this.
Yeah. And so it's and since it was a preparatory school for that sort of thing, is that you learn a lot of the things that you see missings in other bits, even just going with cooking, because I know it more, is that we were talking about watching one of those cooking shows, and so they went from their home restaurant, then they went to where they film everything, and they're this recipe works every time at my restaurant, right? And be baking, right? And so when they bake it at a different altitude, it didn't work, right?
Yeah.
But they've made the same recipe thousands of times, and it turns out perfect. But they didn't account for a simple other factor.
Yeah.
And that's that loss of critical thinking.
I love living in Calgary, because we know the altitude differences, because we're at such a high altitude. So.
Well, it's because if we try to find any recipe, it's odds are it wasn't designed for a high altitude place.
Yeah.
So it will always come out it'll always come out poorly.
Yeah.
Unless you know how to fix it.
Yeah, we actually have to, like, for cake mixes here, we actually have to use a quarter cup more flour in those, or else the cake is going to explode. And there's like a tiny note on the box that's like, high altitudes, add a quarter cup flour, but they don't really account for it.
Yeah, there's a bunch of other ways to do it too that aren't just flour. There's other things with like more eggs, less water, I think is one of them. I can't remember if it's less or more water.
It's more water.
More water?
It's a little bit more water, usually.
Yeah, well, we're also semi-arid, so it could just be because of the fact that it's like drier climate here too.
Yeah.
Because like I found a lot of like cookbooks and stuff like that from celebrity chefs, and celebrity chefs usually end up in like New York, California, LA, things like that. So it's they're low altitude and very moist. So you try that recipe and you're like, this did not look the same.
No.
It's like McDonald's, but from like Food Network to plate. You're like, I did everything you said.
Why do I have a chicken McNugget instead of a full chicken?
Exactly right.
It's like, how did that work out? But anyways, yeah. We should probably talk about movies at some point here, since that is what you guys do, is filming and stuff like that.
You're the one who decided to throw the mic on in the middle of a conversation between friends.
Hey, that's because that's how my podcasts are. They're conversations. They're not actual. They're not actually like formal interviews. I it's much more interesting actually hearing how people think and more who they are. But so we probably should do some kind of film stuff though.
Well, that's fairly easy. Going on movies with like our new show. So the way it kind of started is that we've got that book right there.
501 must-see movies.
Yeah, that was just what to say.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
He wants me to talk more.
I understand.
Yes.
So this was you started me on this. So you talk about the book.
Well, I've had the book for like years now, 501 must-see movies, and that's because I worked at a video store. And it was just kind of like one of those cool little fun challenges. And then I realized I hadn't seen a lot of them. I saw maybe like 100 when I started reading it. And so I was like, oh man, wouldn't it be great to like finish this book? So I started it, and then I've just been petering in and out.
Well, you started it with a different friend at first, right?
Yeah, I started it by myself, and then one of my coworkers I thought would be interested in it, so I got him the book for Christmas, but he got the revised version while I had the original, and the revised version had a lot more newer movies, so...
And they also changed up some of the ones that were harder to get, right?
Yeah. That's adding new movies, and they took away a lot of the older ones that were impossible to find.
Yeah. So with this, we just kind of started just picking up movies for all of this, and from that, when we were just kind of flipping through it, we went through the entire list and we like color coded like which ones I'd seen, which ones she had seen, which ones we'd both seen.
Yeah.
And so when we were going through it, we ended up kind of in that spot where it's like, what, you haven't seen this movie? And we realized that's just kind of something that is a common thing in like pretty much any kind of small talk.
Yeah,
with like friends at a party, with the water cooler or whatever.
Yeah, especially working at like a video store like me. Like I've said in the past, like Big Lebowski was a big one for me. I hadn't seen that. People are like, you work at a video store! You've never seen this movie? Yeah. So I ended up watching it a few years ago, but it was like... And like I understood, but with the way we're doing the show is kind of adding like a funny twist to it.
So, but the way we do it with the show is that we'll have like a guest come on, and then find a movie that's one of those movies that you're like that people have that reaction about.
Yeah.
And then we'll make a list of like kind of pointed questions about the entire thing. Sit them down and then ask them questions about what they think the movie's about. So then with that we get like this really wide range of answers, because sometimes you mostly know what the movie's about. It really
depends on the guest, because like when we had our friend Corey on it, he gave ridiculous answers. And then when I had you on it as the interviewee, then you gave more serious answers based on the trailer that you have seen like 5 years ago, and you were still really off. But you were still pretty close at the same time.
Yeah.
So.
And so, just with that, it creates a fun element to it, and then we end up we do that. We watch the movie with them, and then we kind of go do a post interview where we go over what their original answers were, and so why that was funny or unfunny,
or why that was
it's like off, where that was wrong, and if there's on the comedies and stuff like that, you know, it's like what are the more famous lines, or your favorite quote or anything like that.
Favorite scene.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then with the more serious movies, it's like, because you know sometimes you leave a movie and you're like, what just happened? Then we'll go into depth with our interviewee, right, about what they think happened, and then any popular fan theories that we might know, or what the director has like come out and said about it.
Yeah, fun little trivia. Yeah.
So that's kind of how we've based the show around it, where is that, you know, you can learn a little bit of trivia about it, but the fun is really just in finding out what people who haven't seen that movie that you think people should have seen think that movie's about. Because like I said, like with any movie that you've had that reaction about, that's never really been it's kind of an untapped aspect of that social conversation. Because when you're like, oh, you haven't seen that movie, you have to see it, it's so great. And then you never actually go into what they think that movie is, like maybe that's why they haven't seen it, for example. And so it's interesting to see how off they are, or like how spot on you are just from what you've heard or from watching a trailer.
Yeah, well, two of the movies that actually inspired it was one that I just talked about, The Big Lebowski. But the second one was RoboCop, because before I went into RoboCop, I thought it was a very different plot line. I thought it was about an over the rules kind of judge who, like, if anybody was slightly breaking, like, apparently what Judge Dredd is. I totally thought that was RoboCop. So going in and, like, it just having this completely different plot line, I was like, I wish somebody had interviewed me before and after that movie.
Is it wrong that I have her going, I am the law, with a RoboCop voice now?
It's not wrong at all. In fact, if anything, that's going to get included into like a video clip. We'll just dub that in.
Yeah, you gotta be like in a robot voice. I am the law. We gotta get. Can we get like the visor?
I still need to see Judge Dredd. I haven't seen it.
Oh, what?
See, that's one of those movies.
And that's the reaction that's fostered the entire idea of this show.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
At one point, what I would like to do is kind of a hope, but just like with the misunderstandings, right? This is an idea that actually got given to me from our friend Corey, but was that during that post interview, finding what people think it's about, right, is to like either take like film clips and make that happen, or even to just like act it out, kind of like Drunk History style, right?
That would be actually really good. You go one step further. It'd be really cool, like if he did kind of like a 30-second music video kind of thing on that, just like, because you just do the parts that just the person says in the interview, you actually act out those parts.
Yeah, and that's something I'd like to
eventually, if we get like famous enough and get an animator, that would be like
an animator would be like probably the easiest way of doing that.
Actually, you know what? I'm just saying this just strictly just from my own experience with this. You could probably get some relatively famous people to go along with it just because it's funny.
Yeah,
just because.
But you have to have the time, like.
Well, for example, you guys are going to the Edmonton Expo.
Yep.
So it just so happens that some local, like, Alberta celebrities are always there. Most of them have a sense of humor.
Yeah.
Most of them. I'm not going to say all of them do.
We really get some of our voice actors.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, I know, I because of some other events that I've helped run and things like that, there are a few of the local people that I know like fairly well in like kind of a passing kind of way. So I was like, I wouldn't mind seeing if they'd be interested in getting into an episode.
You probably could, because again, if it's fun, like the whole thing about everybody wants to have fun and everyone wants to enjoy themselves with what they're doing.
Yeah.
And like I said, and it helps you out, right? And then they're doing something that's really cool, and this sounds really, really cool. Right, and this, well, okay, to be honest, I left my ass off when I heard Corey's answers to... Yeah. Although my personal favorite one was Diane Sawyer. That
was probably the best one.
Yeah.
He made her name up off the top of his head. He was like, Diane Sawyer. And then, so we're going through the movie.
So look up, guys, the Dorkable Anchorman to get exactly what we're talking about here. But yes, Diane Sawyer comes up in Anchorman. It works. I do. The other part I love is Although I am kind of disappointed, Corey, because my favorite scene in Anchorman is still the newscaster brawl. It's still my all-time favorite thing in there because it's funny and like I said, Brick kills men.
Yeah.
And, I mean, yes, folks, this is a spoiler. I don't care. It's my podcast. Grow up. Brick kills a few people in there, and some of the most. And it's the best. It's Brick at his absolute best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With the trident.
Yes.
It's amazing.
And it's also one of those ones where, because like I understand people who don't, because like Brick is obviously played by Steve Carell, and a lot of people are like, some people are huge fans and other people are like, I hate everything he's done, and I feel like that's one of the ones where it helped make him typecast into that role, but also the most well done of it. So
well, it just is one of those things where it just like you watch it and you see everything going on, and you can. Oh my gosh, she's selfing herself in the middle of the podcast.
Don't keep talking.
And so,
okay.
no, I
it's
just,
mildly distracting.
I gave a peace sign, guys. So on that, so if you see it on Snapchat or wherever the heck that's going to be, and
let's go on to Instagram and Twitter.
Okay, cool. Tweet me on there.
Plug. What's our plug?
Instagram is I believe. Gotta find it.
Well, yes. No, we won't. Screw that. But no. What? Stop. What we'll do is at the end of every interview, I ask you guys to get where people can find you. So in this case, it'll be your YouTube channel, your Twitter handle, and your Instagram. Right, and then we'll talk about your wonderful cause at the end. Right, that's how we'll do this. Until then, I'm giving you all this time to find it because, true story, there is somebody I interviewed, a science fiction editor. It's episode 51. Right, it's episode 51. Well done. I can quiz her on it later.
Oh God.
Yes, but.
Our business cards might have my wrong number, but I still carry them.
I know where mine are.
I got a new cell phone since those business cards were printed. So.
No, that's fine. Although I'd like your title of vice president. It's actually VP, right? The VP. But anyways, but
well, that was like. Are you like putting down like a rap beat there?
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I interviewed a science fiction editor, and the thing that blew me away, and because we're in just a different age now where mediums are together, is they don't have that stuff together. Their Instagram, their Twitter, and things like that. And I imagine, I mean, the beautiful thing about stuff like that is it gives people like you an opportunity to create a product that's awesome and made of cheese, right? Right?
It's cheese.
That's right. Hey, listen, cheese is awesome. It's just the way it is.
It's actually from the Dragon Ball Resurrection F.
Yeah.
There's just a part where this like death god, he's like eating a piece of pizza and he doesn't know what cheese is called. He's like, and it's what is this called again? And Vegeta's just sitting there so bored. He's like, it's cheese. Probably my favorite line from that entire thing. It's just like, what?
Well, during that week you had like 3 favorite lines going on. It was like from Power Rangers the movie. It was like, I'm a frog.
Oh, and then what was the other one? It's we just watched Scott Pilgrim vs. World again.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so he's like, chicken parm's not vegan. It's cheese. I'm a frog. It's like all 3 of these were stuck in my head, and they formed this beautiful sentence.
Oh God. Although in all seriousness, Scott Pilgrim should be on that list somewhere.
Oh yeah.
The thing we just haven't found somebody who hasn't seen it yet.
Is that it kind of comes down to like to our guest, right? Because everybody has a different missing, right? So if somebody hasn't seen Scott Pilgrim, then obviously that's obviously a solid recommendation, right? And then we can go through that. But I mean, the fact is that if they haven't seen Scott Pilgrim, but they haven't seen something else, it's like more pressing, right? Then it's like we'll have to have you back for Scott Pilgrim, you know. It's just kind of a matter of what everybody wants to do, right? Oh, God.
Am I going to come back on your show more than once with that list?
Well,
yeah. Oh, God.
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
We made a quick list of 5 just off the movies on our shelf.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a really big shelf, but still.
It's a frightening shelf. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a picture of that shelf to advertise Dorkable because it's like the shelf I looked at and was frightened of. Although I still want your shelf. I'm probably like your only friend you know that's like has zero interest in your DVDs. Not because I don't like your DVDs.
He just wants the shelf.
Yeah.
Oh, Walmart. Man, Walmart.
I know, but it's right here.
That's fair. We did have to build it. But my
I
parents
think
bought
it's
that
actually
shelf.
more work to take everything off of that and then take it apart to move it than it would be to just buy it.
I don't know if I'd actually take it apart. That's the thing.
No, you have no choice. That's the thing, is because you don't know how that shelf's built.
Yeah.
You're going to try to pick that thing up and it will come apart.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't know how it's put together.
Oh.
It's booby trapped, so you can't take our movie.
Shoestring prayer and duct tape?
No. No, it's actually just how it's designed.
Yeah,
Oh, really?
It's true.
Yeah, it's designed to be in a box that's like maybe like 2 feet big. So it's actually like 2 little shelves. They're just like joined in the middle.
So I just would smash half the shelf, lifting it. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Not the dream's gone.
Yeah,
I no
exactly.
longer want to steal your shelves.
There.
There you go. Oh, yeah, I still do, but that's okay. Yes, this is what we talk about on my podcast and stuff like this all the time.
Stealing our shelf.
That's right.
Just all the time.
And no matter who he's interviewing, he just brings up stealing our shelf.
Yeah.
I'm good. Well, you know what? In the opening monologue for this episode, I will do that. I will talk about my desire to steal your shelf. Just because I can, and it's my podcast. And like I said, I had someone be a robot for 5 minutes.
Fair.
Yeah,
fair.
yeah. So if I can do that, I can do anything. I've also played Magic on my podcast. I'm trying to play with something more absurd. You know?
That's fair.
But again, going back to something I mentioned earlier before we went into this wonderful tangent, it's like, no, but I'm not. It's not a bad thing. This is what conversations happen all the time.
Yeah.
It makes us people.
That's right.
What?
You are not a number, Miranda. You are a woman.
To be fair, I'm a woman. I'm not a person. I'm kidding.
That's not true.
Anything I said in this whole thing, that's the thing I least believe in. So.
The frightening part is least believe.
I know, right?
That's the frightening
I'm
part.
like going over everything else she said.
Yeah, I know. That's me too.
We're going to do well in your mission. I love you.
And that was my last feel.
No, you wish that was your last feel.
I forgot to bring up my backup feels.
Sorry. You're a person too, JR.
No, he's a number.
Yeah, I'm a number.
You can't see it,
Is
but
that-
he's just a giant 1.
Giant 1.
I'm number 1.
Well, actually, he'd be number 2. He's a BP, not a P.
Not true. You're number 1. If anything, I'm at maybe like a 0.5 with co-founder.
Yes. So it's okay though. I mean, honestly, I like your stuff. I'm happy you're doing it again. The only criticism I'm going to put on the air is you never should have stopped.
Yeah, but like
I understand some of what.
At the beginning, we were just doing like some random skits that were happening, and then some of the people we had working with us they kind of like dropped off, and so then it just kind of like we spent a lot of time planning things out and then never really filming anything, never finding anything that we thought was like worth filming, and so we just kind of got to the mentality of just content, right? Is that even it's like it's like our first episode of this show is just gone out onto YouTube, and it's it's a little bit raw, right? And we put it together with what we had, and obviously we're starting off with our guests being our friends and family and whatnot, and like parts of the format have already changed for future episodes.
Yeah.
And like it's because we've filmed what 3, 4 of these now.
This is going to be the 4th.
This will be the 4th one, yeah. And so it's like parts of it have already changed, and we've just decided that instead of trying to just put something out that's a polished product on a medium that we're learning, that it's like it won't be at that level that we want it to be for a while still, because we have to put content out there. We have to go through the editing process. We have to just simply do it long enough to get that experience of doing it. So it'll be a fun kind of learning experience, not only for us, but for anybody who like ends up following us, because they're going to kind of watch our content grow, watch it get more polished, things step up, right? Like little bits, like even
Absolutely.
like on our first the first episode there is that we have like our mic, we had everything set up, everything good to roll, finished the first part of the interview, realized the mic wasn't on. Right?
Yeah, so half of the
it's-
first episode has terrible audio, but
And
the
then
second half sounds gorgeous.
Yeah, and so it's just little bits where it's just it's just you learn better from mistakes. That's just human nature.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
And so we just decided to just make mistakes, put content out. People like we like what we're doing, and if we like what we're doing, actually, this is something I got from Stan Lee. Is that don't make stories for other people. Right. As soon as you start making stories for other people, that's how shows die.
Yeah.
Is whenever people start trying to target it towards their market demographic, they're like, oh, well, like teenage boys love this, and then you lose all the other fans that aren't the teenage boys. And when the teenage boys grow old, they don't like it anymore either. That's where all the shows we liked as kids were better, because they just made content, right?
Yeah.
They made a story that they liked that might be more in one person's one type of interest over another. So we're making something that we like, and we know that other people are going to like it too. And so those people will get to like kind of grow with us and watch us learn and everything else, and then hopefully they'll tell their friends, and more people will come to enjoy what we're doing.
I'm learning this as a I'm going to go two parts. But me as a podcaster, me as a publicist. When I did as a podcaster, my first episodes are terrible. Like and again, it's in. I never let not knowing anything stop me from doing it.
Yeah.
And that's right. And there's that, but there's part of that. But the other part of it too is you guys are going to get more comfortable doing what you're doing.
Uh-huh.
And as you get more comfortable, you're going to find it's more you. You make the show your own, right? And you kind of decide. Like I mentioned this earlier, I put Magic the Gathering on a show just because it could. Just because I could.
Yeah.
Because it was fun, and I thought it would be a neat little thing to do. And I've done that, and I try to have fun with all my shows. I'm a lot more comfortable now that I'm 50 episodes in, right? 50 some odd episodes in when I film. This will be like episode 60 something when it comes out. But that all said, right? I've gotten to the point where there's a certain comfort zone that wasn't there when I started, and that's part of it. But as a publicist, the biggest thing I'm learning about what I'm doing in terms, not just like my books, my podcasts, and things like that, it's everything's niche now. Everything. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you do anymore. It's no longer about getting that broad audience, because there's no such thing as a broad audience anymore.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? It's about finding the audience that, like, you guys are movie fans. I mean, that's the biggest thing. Like, your show is for people that love movies, people that love just having fun. Because, I don't do as much movies as I'd like to personally, maybe because I just my life is just, I have no time. But the thing is, it's a wonderful medium. It really, really is. There's the work that goes into putting something on film. Although I guess film's an antiquated term now, but even so, the idea. Yeah.
I mean, you can still watch films because they were filmed on films. You're just watching them on a different medium.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, but no, I know. Like I say, it just. I mean,
It's just the growth of the word.
yeah, exactly.
It's still films, but they're not like they're filmed. They're films, but really, most of it's, we're in a digital culture now, right?
Yeah.
So it's if anything, it's footage,
Yes.
right? That's where it's you kind of you get the
but
distinction.
footage just sounds like most people are used to like raw footage.
Yeah.
The term raw footage.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, again, that's journalism lingo. But like I said, you guys have a really fun product, and I'm looking forward to watching you guys grow when you get to episode like 15, 16, 17, because that's when you guys will really have your groove, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, in the last 3 episodes, I have flubbed up. Well, I guess we flubbed up at some point, because the memory card, like, ended at one point, so halfway through, like, our first interview, we ran out of memory, so it just cut. So episode 2 is interesting. I had to work a lot harder to make that one more interesting. Episode 1, the audio was off, and episode 3, one of our angles was weird, so but the other two angles look nice. So
Yeah.
yeah.
It's just, yeah, then that's where, going back to what we were saying before, it just kind of came down to just releasing content.
Yeah.
Right? Releasing content, and we're putting it out there, and so the idea with this show is that this is going to be like a weekly segment that we do. That's our current goal. And then, as we grow, we can kind of play around with some of the other ideas we have, whether that's, get like celebrities, like some mild celebrities or big celebrities to help act out some of the misunderstandings of what a movie's supposed to be, or, probably more realistically is like get an animator in, because it's just, I feel like that'd be just a bit easier to start. And if we get somebody in on the project that enjoys it as much as we do, then, like, again, it's all just ideas and see how it all plays out.
Yeah, it'd be great to have somebody animate John Burgundy having a romance interest with Diane Sawyer, and the villain be against the Dick Tracy.
Yeah.
That would be hilarious.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
just,
Dick Tracy wants John Burgundy's jobs.
No,
In real life, it's Ron, but Corey said it was John.
Oh, yes, that's right.
So
okay,
he's John Burgundy.
That's right.
That's right. By the way, Corey, if you're listening to this, we love you. We really do. But, all right.
Thank you for being our first guest.
So, I'm gonna ask, probably, actually, this is the only question I think I've asked this interview, is, I'm just curious, like, what are some of your other ideas? Or are you just kind of developing them right now?
We have a few in progress.
You don't need to actually tell me. I mean, if you don't want to.
The original idea for this was that because like most people of our like age, it's like we've grown up a lot on YouTube. YouTube is something that's just kind of everybody does, right? Like watching YouTube is more what I mean. And so like what we found that we really loved like a lot of the skit comedies, right? And even outside, before YouTube, you got your other like major skit things, like Saturday Night Live, everything else like that, right? And so, with YouTube, you can do an isolated 2-minute skit. You don't need to do a full show. And so, a lot of those are just things that we really enjoy, being both like like movie fans and just like gamers and everything
improv,
else, right?
Yeah.
So and just improv in general. So we really enjoyed a lot of those. And so when we'd be sitting around and like talking. We would find that we'd have like, oh, that'd be so funny. Somebody should do that. And so we kind of slowly built up the idea that we should do that. And that's where when we were talking before about why we hadn't filmed anything, is that we were coming up with all these great ideas. So many great ideas that we didn't write down and we don't remember. And so
I remember a few.
Yeah,
they're on like the back burner.
Yeah, you remember like 3 of the 1,000 we've made though.
Yeah, that's
right?
true.
And so that's kind of where it started, and so we've got a couple of videos that we did, 2 years ago?
The first ones came out like 2 years ago.
Yeah, so it's like we did like a game review for Super Fight by playing it out, so you could like kind of see it done, right? Because it was a game that people hadn't really heard of much at the time.
And that one was fun because I did end up photoshopping all those pictures of anything in Fight.
Yeah. And then after that, we did a bad movie translation, where we took famous lines from movies, ran them through a translator that went through
bad translator. It was 52
different languages and brought it back to English. And so the lines just are ridiculous, and we acted those all out.
I still say some of those lines just anytime they're mentioned.
And so some of those are just absolutely hilarious. And so it's just kind of going along that kind of idea where it's like I feel like we'll always be our content will always end up being, like based off of like famous movies and like nerd culture.
Yeah.
But it's kind of going. Our goal is to go into kind of like a skit style thing. It's just that we wanted to have something that we could do for regular content that we thought was fun. Yeah. And so this is like our first attempt at like a regular show.
No, it's fair.
Yeah.
And so that's how we're starting off on it. And then, we've been upgrading some of our stuff, so we got a better camera, we've got a second camera, with a tripod and mics, lighting. We've got green screens and stuff that we haven't got to use yet. So we've got all the building blocks. And so once we got the building blocks, then when we come up with an idea, it's just a matter of just actually filming it. And those will come out kind of like sporadically as we come up with them until we get enough kind of content set up that we can maybe set up like a skit show that we release on a regular.
I know you guys will do better with the green screen than what I had to deal with the first time I dealt with a green screen. No. Okay,
when I iron it.
No, I wish. I wish.
Ooh, I want to hear this story.
Oh no. Okay, so we were doing I'm in the magazine course in Arizona. The year before, okay, this guy is filming us doing interviews on a green screen, and he did it several different ways. He used a green screen. He used a curtain outside, a green curtain, because he thought he'd get the same result.
Oh no.
Oh no, it gets better.
I can only get better with how you started.
Yes. It gets better. So he bails in the summer for editing. So I come back in the fall, still working on this footage. I look at the green screen. Each time he filmed the green screen, it was in a different position.
Oh no.
Oh, there's nothing like putting a background in and watching half a person disappear. There is nothing quite like that. But my favorite was the curtain. The curtain is still my favorite because this is where he put the curtain. He put the curtain on a window.
Yes, I was hoping you were going to say that.
Oh yes, a window where people were leaving. It was a parking lot at night.
Oh, that's beautiful. You can't ask for worse footage.
Yeah.
It is the only time I have ever recommended this, ever. I actually told my class that I was not going to put a graphic up. Because there was no way I could put a graphic up and not ruin any shot. Not one. All of them. Either one would be
and also just your own credibility.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's just one of those things where I just looked at it and I had these dinky. I didn't even talk about the equipment I had. I had the equipment of like Pentium 1s or 2s, and I had like the crappiest versions of like Adobe, like the video program there, and I had so it was like I had all this. So I was doing a computer that wanted to die, and with footage that I wanted to kill myself with. Don't even get me started with the Goddess drinking game interview, where you literally watched somebody, the interviewer died. The interviewee kept going, but the interviewer you watched her die a slow death literally on there.
Oh no.
Oh, it's great. So this is some of the footage I got to watch and heavily wish for alcohol. I was in the Mormon community, so
yeah.
Yeah.
The worst time to do the drink.
Yeah. But it was one of those things where I learned an awful lot about what not to do with the green screen, and also I will never forget the time I tried to put this nice building background and literally had headlights going through it like it was haunted. That
could be cool.
I
If you're going for that Batman, the swooping spotlight look, you could have just tailored the background to it.
Well, no. The problem was
you only needed an extra 100 hours of editing, and you could have made that thing beautiful.
Man of tears in the world. There would have been I would have been an angry man coming out of that.
To this day.
Yes, very angry man. As it was.
Green screen trigger.
That's it. No.
Anytime he sees green from now on.
See somebody in a green shirt.
Actually, no. For me, I'm a Green Lantern fan. That would have been horrible.
That's okay. There are other colored lanterns.
There wasn't at the time. It was brutal, but that's my green screen. So yeah. So my only thing is just leave it in the same spot or so close that nobody notices.
We have the frame thing for it, and I played around with it already a little bit. There was some micro footage. It was in you can actually see me playing around with it in a video I posted about a year ago. Just to say, giving an update that I was like, we're gonna start new content, and then we never started new content till now.
It was just misleading. It was we'll start new content much later from now.
Let's start new content
Soon.
So,
That way.
Yeah. Like I said in the video, life finds a way to get in the way.
And that actually should be a skit too. Seriously, it just should be. Life finds a way to get in the way and just have everything go wrong on camera.
Yeah.
Yeah, see,
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
You're just like you could even just like start it with like the melodramatic actor, and then it just like spirals out of control.
Yeah.
You just come here, you're trying to do an interview, and all of a sudden just people come in out of nowhere, like from off the camera, and you just make it this like, really raw thing, and just life stuff happens.
Yeah, like the host gets served.
Yeah, exactly.
His divorce papers on like live footage.
Crying because he wasn't expecting it.
Yeah, it's just like just because we were talking about Anchorman, so it's just like it's like on footage. It's like, "Hi, I'm Ron Burgundy, and you've been served." What?
Yeah.
These are the kind of just conversations we have that make us want to make these little skits, and then we have so many on the back burner.
But that's good though. That means there's a lot to look forward to, and there's a lot to do, and I'm looking forward to it. So we've been going for about 45 minutes. So Miranda, are you ready?
What did I do?
It's simple. We're first. We're going to see about hunting where people can find Dorkable content. Where can they do this? Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. Go!
Oh, okay, so the Facebook is, it would just be under Dorkable on Facebook, that's it. The Instagram is Dorkable_Entertainment. Is it not just Dorkable on Facebook?
Nope, it's Dorkable Fun.
On Facebook?
Yep.
I thought it's Dorkable Fun on Twitter.
Nope. Oh, so it's Dorkable Fun on Twitter. Yes, you're right. I read that wrong. It's Dorkable Entertainment on both Facebook and Instagram. It's not just Dorkable there.
I think it's Dorkable_Entertainment on Instagram.
Yes,
it is.
Dorkable_Entertainment.
Yes. And your YouTube channel is?
Our YouTube channel is just Dorkable.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So let's do this. I'll do this again because since I'm the one that made it, I asked myself on the air, but it's okay. It's my podcast. I can do that. To find Dorkable on your social media. YouTube channel is Dorkable. Their Twitter is @DorkableFun. Instagram is @Dorkable_Entertainment. And Facebook, just look up Dorkable Entertainment.
Yep.
All right. So talk about Free Life.
Extra Life.
Extra Life.
It's a video game reference because it is on November 5th. A lot of YouTubers actually do this, but it's a 24-hour live stream charity event where people play video games with their friends or alone or whatever, and then they tell people that they're doing this, and people can watch them with this 24-hour event. And they can donate money, and all the money goes to children's hospitals.
I'll just add in a couple things there. It's not exclusively video games.
Yeah.
It's a gaming event. What we're going to be doing for the Extra Life event is we're going to be doing a live stream throughout the entire thing. So we're going to have a bunch of our friends over, and then we're going to play kind of a variety of different board tabletop style games.
Or video games. We have the technology to do that too.
We do, but it's like everything we've got set up for it so far. We'll play around with the final bits once we get closer to the event.
Board games.
It really all sparked from last year. We did one, and it wasn't like advertised well, and it was hard to find links to the one that we were doing. I had to go through several pages. Like I had to find the guy's name who ran the event and go through him to find this event.
Yeah.
So
so we found because we were active participants in it last year, and the group that we were in, we wanted to donate to. And we could only actually find it because we were at the event and knew the name of the person that was going. And so that's why we decided that it'd be a good idea to kind of go through our social media and kind of hit like our fan base and get some of our friends involved, and so then they can get their friends in on it and just kind of channel it down so it'd be easier for you to be able to find the other people that you wanted to donate. And it's kind of like it's the gamer equivalent of a marathon. Is that you get pledges basically, right? But it's not, instead of it being for like time or distance or anything like that, it's just like we've set up a very modest goal because it's our first time doing it. So we set up our goal for, I believe it was $200.
$200,
right? And so that's kind of like the min amount, and that's just what we wanted to just set up so we could try it and see what our reach would be and how much we could do, so that we could determine what we need to do for next year. Right? And then with that, so our plan is to just kind of like I said, have people over, kind of have like a mixed bag of games. So it'd be, games that are fun to watch. Maybe throw in a couple games that you might not have known how to play. And we've got a lot of people who are deep into the gaming community. We're going to have board gaming, and we have one of the founders from a local board game, an old board gaming event that was in town, and so we can kind of go through games that you might not have heard of, games that you've wanted to try. We've got a big gaming library, so we could even put some of those up on as a list, and if enough people want it, we're like, hey, I've always wanted to try to play this game, then we'll put it down. And so it's just kind of that sort of thing, just so that we can kind of reach out, give people some fun content, but at the same time get like donations in so we can help a good cause. Like she said, it's for the Children's Hospital. So
ours is going to be specifically for the Alberta Children's Hospital, and they helped you out.
Yes, actually, yeah. When I when I was a kid, when I first moved out here, I ended up frequenting through there quite a bit. So
fair enough.
Yeah, and last year when we did it, it was kind of funny because there was a group playing one game, and they were recorded, and then we were off playing like other stupid little games, but we were so much funnier than them, and we had so much more reach. We were like, we could totally do this better, so we're doing it better.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those things where it's like I understood the. Sorry, I let it die for a second.
Oh God. Okay. Finish. Just finish.
No, you're not.
No, I'm not finished. Just keep going.
It's just to the idea is that's why we decided to do like a mixed group of games as opposed to just finding a game that you could spend 24 hours playing. It's just going around through all those little games that if you've been to the gaming shop and you're like, it's $15, but I don't know, or it's like this one's like $50, but it looks like it could be interesting. We have a lot of those games on hand, so we'll just we'll play through them, and then you can watch, enjoy, throw your comments in. We'll have a computer up with open so we can see comments for everybody, and so you can kind of pitch in on what's going on.
Yeah, that's gonna be a great time.
It will be.
Yeah, and we want to have our friends be able to come over. Like, we're inviting so many people because we want them to come in. We want them to play a game. If they have to leave, if they have to go to work, they can. So we'll just have constantly different people. We'll have our guests from our show. By the time it is November 5th that it comes out. So by that time, we should have about 7-8 videos.
Yeah.
Of the You've Never Seen out. So, yeah, with all different guests.
Very
so,
cool.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun time. We're going to be hyped up on, like, beer and energy drinks and pizza.
I'm there. I'm there.
Well, later on, not at the beginning.
Okay.
What?
Later on, not at the beginning.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
It starts at 8.
8 p.m.?
8 a.m.
a.m.? Okay.
It starts at noon.
It starts at noon? I thought you said 8.
Yeah, it can start any time during the
okay.
day. I've been wanting to start at noon.
Oh, okay.
So that we can have it till noon the next day.
So we'll make this official. November 5th, 12 noon.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. And that will be this interview.
And I want to thank Dorkable, Marion Tubman, John Ryan Stewart for their time. Check out coming soon on Dorkable's live stream. It's going to be Extra Life. It's going to be an event where people like me will be playing games for a charity and for a good cause. I will be there. I'll be there kind of short. I had something unexpected kind of come up, but I will be there. I'll be part of the fun at least for a short time, and we'll go from there. All right. That'll do it. By the way, you should definitely take a look at these guys take a look at Dorkable at Dorkable Entertainment. You can find them on Facebook. At Dorkable Fun is their Twitter. So by all means, subscribe. That will do it, guys. This is it. Another episode of Just Joshing is done. And if you want to support me, you can buy the merch. You can buy my books. You can sign up for my newsletter, which is at tinyletter.com/jpentelaresco. Support my YouTube channel. However you do, though, regardless whether you subscribe or you don't, stay inspired out there. All right? I'll see you guys real soon.
Josh.